What's up, everybody? I'm Seth Fowler, and this is Weekly Heat. First of all, thank you so much for tuning in. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than most of the other Weekly Heat, if not all of the other Weekly Heat videos that I've done, probably over the last 3 or 4 years since I started doing Weekly Heat. So today's video is going to be highlights from a stream that I did a couple days ago, covering all of the sneaker topics that are relevant right now. I honestly feel like this video style is more fun than my standard Weekly Heat videos because I'm able to talk more off the cuff. We talk about even broader stories than I would have in a standard written Weekly Heat video, and I just want to try something different. So if you guys like this new format, let me know in the comment section down below. But before we dive into that, I do want to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Secret Sauce. So as I'm sure you've noticed if you're a sneakerhead, it is almost impossible to grab sneakers now for retail. It's crazy, it sucks, but it's the reality. And I mean, unless you know somebody in the industry, maybe have a friend at a sneaker store, or just get lucky on some of the apps, which, let me be honest, never happens at all, at least not for me, it's almost impossible to get every release that you want. But that's where Secret Sauce comes in. Secret Sauce was developed specifically to help people grab the sneakers that they want that they weren't able to grab before. Secret Sauce is an invite-only group that provides you with valuable information, leaks and links, monitors, slots, bots, buyback programs, and info on NFTs and crypto, and honestly, so much more. The Secret Sauce group has all of the tools that you would need to be successful in the sneaker world, and one-on-one support is there for those of you who have any questions. Personally, one of the things that I use most on Secret Sauce are their restock monitors. If there's something I'm looking to grab, whether it's sneakers, streetwear, or in my case, GPUs, you could definitely use them for that. Also, I'm a big fan of their Walmart flips. If there's something at Walmart that you wouldn't think would resell, but actually does resell, they let you know and they give you a link to it so you can actually flip it for yourself. It's seriously a really cool community, and if you're into sneakers and streetwear and being able to grab that stuff for retail, it's definitely worth checking out. So if you'd like to check out Secret Sauce for yourself, make sure to click the link in the top of the description below and be on the lookout for invite drops. I mean, that's one of the reasons that Secret Sauce's community is so great, because it's limited to a certain number of people. That means that they're still able to give you one-on-one support if you need it. And of course, it's a group of people who are all interested in the same stuff that you and I are interested in, so it's definitely worth checking out. But with all that being said, let's dive right into this week's Weekly Heat. So the first story of the day is nothing too crazy. We're just taking a look at the brand new Yeezy basketball knit. So this is a shoe that's been out for a while. I think it came out back in December. However, this new version of the basketball knit has reflective material on the toe, which honestly does look pretty cool in this sort of almost comet look, which I really dig. It's funny because without the reflective details, the shoe just looks brown. Which is fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but then when you hit the shoe with the flash, you really get that super cool effect. And actually what I really like about this is that if you look up here, you can actually see the reflective going on with this guy's Balenciaga socks, it looks like. I'm a sock nerd, I love socks. It's a shoe that if I can get it for retail, sure, I'll get it. One thing that's kind of cool about the brand new Apothecary office is that it's right across from a basketball court, so I can actually play basketball again. So I'm super stoked on that. This might be a good ball shoe. I really like how it sort of fades into nothingness towards the back of the shoe. That's one of my favorite details about it. And especially on this where it kind of comes off blue. I think that's pretty sick. So the blue with the brown is pretty clean. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it is nice to see Kanye and Adidas trying something a little bit different with the reflective and giving it a cool new pattern. I would love to see this on some 350s. I would like this a lot more than the reflective belugas. I like those, but the reflective details were so minimal and so hard to see. This one, maybe on that shoe would be really cool to see, or any other 350 for that matter. Like a black 350 with this, that would be fire. It looks like the release date for these, based on houseofheat.com or houseofheat.co, is February 18th. Okay, so let's jump into the next story of the day. So this next story, the Nike SB Dunk Low Black Toe sample that just kind of popped up out of nowhere. This shoe, no surprise. I'm surprised it took them as long as it did to drop this, because we just got the J-Pack Chicagos, and now we're getting the Black Toes, which is, a very obvious progression. Nice looking shoe. I really like SB tongues. I like how thick they are. I like that sort of padding on top of my foot. I'm not a skateboarder at all, but I do like how it feels. I like how much more comfortable it is, at least in my opinion. And one thing I like about the newer dunks compared to the dunks from 2012 and some of the older dunks is that they're not as, the leather isn't as stiff. I wouldn't say it's better leather overall, it's just softer. Leather quality with mass-produced sneakers in general is all pretty much garbage. You're just getting a slightly softer version of the same crap leather. But with that being said, I am so excited about these. They look really good. The chance of me actually getting a pair is probably going to be very low. I think that there will probably be a small drop possibly on Nike sneakers or something like that. But with Nike SBs, what they've been doing a lot of recently because they're skateboarding shoes, is dropping them at skate shops, which I think is fair. I think skateboarders should get the first crack at these because it's a skateboarding shoe. I really dig the look. I still have my Black Toe 2016s. 2016s? Yeah, 2016s. Because the Bread and the Black Toes came out really close together in 2016. 2015 was the Chicago's. Somehow I got both the Breads and the Black Toes on the Nike Sneakers app. I got multiple pairs. I got one, I paid for resale for one, for the Breads. I got one on the Sneakers app. I got a pair of the Black Toes on the Sneakers app. And then I bought a third pair of the Breads, which I ended up selling like 2 years later, which was dumb. I wish I'd kept two on ice, but it is what it is. Doesn't look like there is an official release date for these guys yet. But because there are samples of these shoes, I would assume, in the next 6 months to a year, probably would be safe to bet. What's interesting is usually when things leak, they don't usually leak in the sample phase. They usually leak either through replica makers who, are making shoes either at the same factory or have gotten shoes from the factories and are just replicating them. When we see pictures of the replica shoes as these early images, that's always funny to me because you'll see a lot of pictures on like pretty much every sneaker news website. I do it myself. They're all like from Rep God or, all these people who most likely are wearing reps, which that's fine. That's fine, but that's usually how we see early sneakers. If this is a legit sample, this is kind of rare. We don't usually see sample shoes from Nike. Falcon Universal Services Corporation, final option. Yeah, so who knows? I have no idea what the production time on these guys will be. Samples are usually pretty early on in the process, or early-ish on. I don't know. It's probably not in production yet if we're just getting sample photos. But who knows? I have no idea. I would expect 6 months to a year, but it could be next week. I have no idea. So the next story of the day is the Nike Dunk High in dark powder blue and white. So the powder blue ones was another shoe that I really, really wanted. I think it dropped in either 2016, I think it was 2017, and I could not get a pair. It's so funny. I'm watching Mike Rich's vlogs. He's doing this series now where he goes back to his older vlogs and like sees all the sneakers that were sitting in stores. And for some reason, these guys, the Air Jordan 1 versions of the powder blues, were sitting in stores. And it's not just him; it's some other vloggers too. And I'm like, every single store that I went to for like 2 months after release, and on the day of the release too, no one had them. Like they were completely sold out. I was in New York, so maybe that's why. But like every single pair was sold out, and it's a pair that I really, really wanted. And now resale prices are stupid, and I'm just not going to do it. I do like this Dunk though a lot. I mean, Dunks are very similar to Air Jordan 1, so you're getting a very similar look. I would like the powder ones to retro personally, but they're probably not going to do that for a while. I think this colorway is fire. I think the leather looks fine. There's images like this. These shoes are probably already past production and are probably sitting in a warehouse somewhere, so I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple months we get these. But who knows? Things can get pushed back. The next story that we're going to talk about is the Air Jordan 1 High Element Gore-Tex in a light curry color. We also don't see this yellow on Air Jordan 1s a lot. We saw it on the the pollen ones, and we've had it on the what were the yellow ones that dropped like 2 or 3 years ago? I mean, they kind of look like the Rookie of the Years a little bit because they're like a slightly more tannish version of yellow, but it's actually a really clean colorway on this shoe. Now, I'm not a big fan of the Gore-Tex ones. I like that they work. They are very water resistant if you've watched Hess Kick's video on them. But I don't know, they just got a little bit of extra puff that I don't need. Like, I don't need that extra puffiness. They're not bad, though. If you guys want to see a review, let me know. Hey, maybe I'll grab them for that. But I do have to say, I like the color blocking. I like the shade of yellow. I like that they're trying something different with the outsole. They did it with the other Gore-Texes. This sort of like multicolor outsole. I think that's kind of clean. The release date for these shoes is currently unannounced, but they should be priced at $200. Expect them to come out sooner than later. Again, semi-official looking images, so I wouldn't be surprised if they drop sooner than later. So we do have some other stuff to talk about really quick. This is not planned, but shout out to Mosh for getting a New Balance collaboration. Mosh is a friend and a really awesome guy, and he created something dope with New Balance with this pizza-themed shoe. Working with New Balance is like a dream of mine, so that's really cool to see someone I know actually doing it. So shout out to Mosh for doing something really incredible and dropping a sick collaboration. I think these dropped through Foot Locker, and then they may drop on New Balance's website on the 22nd. I did actually look into release details. I think they might have dropped today. I should have stopped by Foot Locker today. I wasn't thinking. Foamer has a good review on the pizzas. I watched it. It was solid. Let's talk about, speaking of New Balance, let's talk about the Jound New Balance 990 V3s. So I just actually found out after probably 2 years of talking about Jound on YouTube, I finally looked it up and found out their name because I'm stupid and I don't do my research. So there you go. So the Jound New Balances, I never knew if it was Jound or JJJ Jound or whatever, but it's Jound straight up. They're dropping a New Balance 990 V3 collaboration, which is sick because the 990 V3 is my favorite New Balance silhouette of the 990s, or favorite version of the 990s. And this collaboration, I was just checking out the shoe. That's why I was kind of like looking like this. They look sick. I love the colorway. It's funny because the other Jound New Balances are reselling for crazy money. Not that that matters, but they are. So that kind of sucks because I think this shoe will probably also resell for crazy money because of the association to Jound. The colorway though is fire. I really like this light olive, dude. I'm all New Balance all the time now. It's a little much, I'm not gonna lie, but I do love New Balance. So these shoes drop probably sometime, well, obviously sometime this year. We don't know the release date yet, but presumably because Jound is posting pictures like this, I would assume that they are dropping very soon, usually within a month or two. It says update February 10th, 2022, which is today. Jound is taking to their Instagram to share official teaser of their 990 V3 collaboration. That means information on its release should follow soon. Exactly what I was saying. So the next story is the Yeezy foam runner Onyx. Apparently we're getting an Onyx colorway of one of my favorite shoes of 2020, the foam runner. Now it's funny because this is obviously a rendering, so this is not a real image by any stretch of the imagination, but whoever rendered this or photoshopped it looks like Yeezy influence, seems to think these shoes will be sort of a dark gray tarmac sort of color. I guess tarmac's black, isn't it? I would have assumed that they would be black because Onyx is usually like more of a black color, but I guess here it's just a dark gray. I really like the foam runner. I like solid colored foam runners. I have the Ararats and I have these MX Sands. I really wish I had gotten the MX one that's like brown and tan. I really like that one too. I actually bought it for my business partner Osman, the co-founder of Apothecary. This and the slides have become some of the best-selling Yeezys of the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, you watch videos from people like Common Hype and some other channels, and then you look at like what StockX is selling, their most popular sneakers, and it's foam runners and slides in terms of Yeezys. I mean, 350s are still up there, but it's primarily foam runners and slides, which is crazy because they're such a different kind of sneaker from anything else. I think it's kind of this, I think it's like this Crocs movement that we're having, like this foam one-piece slip-on style sneaker, or shoe, I guess I should be saying, or clog, that's really seeming to take off, and I'm down with it. Super easy to wear, super easy to keep clean, and they look wild. People stare at you, and I feel like a lot of sneakerheads like wearing shoes because they like the clout, one, but they also like the fact that people are looking at them like, whoa, those shoes are wild. And these are the kind of shoes that like people will stare at you for, whether it's a good thing or bad thing. If you're looking for people to stare at you, the foam runner is the way to go. Plus they're mad comfy. An indicator that I use to tell if a sneaker is coming out sooner than later is whether they've dropped official images. However, unlike Nike and Jordan Brand and Adidas, Kanye seems to just drop these shoes out of nowhere. He doesn't seem to be on that official image grind. So usually we'll get a release date like a week before the shoe comes out, and then we'll get an official image like 2 days after. So most likely these shoes will drop, and then we'll get official images. It's funny too because a lot of the official images don't always look like the shoe looks. Like if you look at the ochre foam runners, they looked yellow in those images, but then when they actually dropped, they were brown, which is awesome. I have the ochre slides right now. They're the same color as this. Great shoe. I actually have a pair of the glow slides coming in, which I'm stoked about. So next up, we actually have a first look at the upcoming Doernbecher Fives lows. So apparently, Doernbecher is having their event on, I believe, February 25th, I think is when they're actually hosting their event. Yeah, the Doernbecher event is on February 25th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So these guys are apparently getting announced on February 25th. No one knows when the actual release date is, at least as of right now. Very wild looking. I don't think the Air Jordan 5 Low would be my first choice for a silhouette. Then again, I think the kids who designed the shoe probably didn't get a choice of silhouette. I think Jordan Brand chooses a silhouette, and then they could choose the colors and things like that. But with Doernbecher shoes, you really got to take into account the story behind the shoe, not just the aesthetic of the shoe. Because there's usually a reason for all these little details on the shoe. My favorite Doernbechers are the Doernbecher Fives, which I actually have, but this is the Jordan to expect. Most likely there will be some Nike sneakers. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a Dunk. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some running shoes like a Pegasus. I like the Nike logo in the netting. I do too. I like that a lot. And this eye thing is kind of cool too. I think that's actually like a shark detail. Like you've got the eye, you've got the teeth. I'm sure there's a really cool story behind it. Yeah, you got mac and cheese on the toe, and you got a mac and cheese little lace guy right there, lace detail. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, the kid who designed this is a fan of mac and cheese, which so am I. So fair enough. So yeah, so these guys will be announced on February 25th. Release date pending, but probably sooner than later. The next story of the day is something you guys might have already heard of, and that is the fact that one of my favorite Yeezy 350s of all time, probably my second favorite Yeezy 350, and 350 V2, and my first 350 V2 ever, in fact, my first 350 V2 review ever was of this shoe, and that's the 350 V2 Red Stripe. So I actually sold this shoe a year ago, 2 years ago, after I'd worn it a bunch. So I sold it for like, I think it was like $400 because it was beat. It was beat. But I'm really happy that I have a chance to grab a second pair. if I can get them. So it looks like this shoe is restocking or returning. I don't know if it's a restock or if it's a new production run. I'm interested to know also what they did with the blue tints. I think it was a new production run, but I never got a pair in hand to like double check. Very nice looking shoe. It does not look like we're gonna get the sort of reflective treatment that we got with the Belugas. So that's fine. I'm actually happy about that. Yeah, so these guys are dropping sometime spring of this year. Apparently they're gonna drop for $220. And I'm assuming these are just images of the original shoe. I don't think these are new images of the shoe. And based on what we saw with the blue tints, I bet you it's going to be the same sort of thing. Basically just a straight up retro. I think the Belugas were sort of a special retro. I mean, obviously if they had 3M or reflective details. So expect these soon. And speaking of Yeezy 350s, we've also got the creams restocking. Now, I don't know if we're getting any other ones. I think the three that we're getting are the Dazzling Blues, which are dropping in like 2 weeks. We're getting the red stripes and we're getting the creams. The reason I like the red stripes the most is because I like, you know, that was just my first 350. I know it's not been that long, but that was right after I started. My channel's almost 6 years old. That's crazy. Yeah, so there's a little bit of nostalgia, even though it's only been 6 years for the red stripes. So I think that's why I like them as much as I do. With the older 350s, they fit a half size small. So same sort of situation. We've already seen these shoes. It seems like a pretty much one-for-one remake or reshoot of the original. Yeah, the Oreo or cream. Yeah, someone said call them Oreos. I get it. The Oreo V2s. They should be dropping sometime this spring. So we probably got the Dazzling Blues first. Then we're going to get the Reds or the Oreos and then the other one. So yeah, stay tuned for these if you're interested. Cool looking shoe. So the final story of the day are the Louis Vuitton Nike Air Force Ones. There was only 200 pairs of them, and they ended up selling for a combined $25 million. All 200 pairs. The profits, 100% of the profits of these shoes went to Virgil Abloh's Postmodern Scholarship Fund, which I believe went to provide scholarships to black art students, which I thought was really cool. I think this is the kind of collaboration that people have been creating concepts of for years, and the fact that Virgil Abloh actually made it a reality is pretty cool. That being said, from a sneakerhead point of view, from someone who likes to wear cool sneakers, if these weren't what they were, if they had made thousands and thousands and thousands of pairs of this particular design, would I pay more than $500 for them or $400 or even retail for them? Probably not. But because of the fact that they're such an insane collector's item, and because of what they went to go benefit, and because of the fact they came with a Louis Vuitton bag, I get that they sold for as much as they did. I mean, you're buying into a piece of basically art. That's one thing I always liked about Virgil, was that he viewed his stuff more as art pieces than it was art fashion, which I thought was really cool. You guys know me, I'm a huge Virgil fan. Losing him last year was definitely a blow, I think, for the sneaker community. But it is cool to see them doing something really cool with these pairs. I wonder if the original plan for these guys was to drop a limited 200 pairs for the scholarship, or if it was changed after he passed. I don't know. I would assume that was the plan, because it usually takes a while to produce sneakers, especially these are probably handmade. Louis Vuitton hand makes their stuff. So I think the lowest price pair that I heard about was like 80-something thousand, and then the highest price pair, does it say it on this article here? Let's see. I think Hypebeast had an article on it. Even Hypebeast is talking about Harden to the Sixers. I'm getting a Harden jersey ASAP, Rocky. That's crazy. I think the cheapest pair was around like 80-something thousand. And then the most expensive pair was like 300-something thousand or something insane. I think it was for a size 5, and there was only one size 5. I know the most expensive pair was a size 5. I just don't remember exactly how much it went for. Yeah, so overall, cool looking shoe. It's funny to see Nike kind of trying to play off of the release of these guys with their own checkerboard Air Force One. I thought that was a little... Honestly, I thought that was whack. I'm going to be real. I thought it was whack. The strive for greatness. Nike Air Force Ones. Come on, guys. Man, I'm sure there's another story behind it. I'm sure, yeah, it's okay. It's a LeBron James themed Air Force One. Fine. That's fine. But, like, you realize the timing's a little sus, right? Like, come on. They can do whatever they want. But yeah, so there's a bunch of friends and family pairs. They're the all monochromatic ones, like the red one, the green one, the blue one, so on. There's a bunch of friends and family pairs, and then there will be some retail pairs dropping, but I don't know exactly what they look like. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like the metallic ones and the iridescent ones. But yeah, stay tuned for those. The starting price for these was $2,000, and honestly, I think that will be the retail price for the standard pair. If you look at the Dior Jordan ones, they started at $2,000, so I wouldn't be surprised. If I'm being honest, I think $2,000 is way too much to pay for any pair of shoes. Way too much, let alone retail. Come on. But hey, I've I've done it, so I can't, like, not saying I don't regret it, but I've done it. It's funny, all my grails, all the pairs that I actually, like, that are my most valuable pairs in my collection, I've either paid retail for, got them for free, or spent like $500 on them. I think, for example, so my Off-White Air Jordan 1s that Virgil signed, got them retail from a Nike event. The Tokyo 5s I won at ComplexCon for free. It had nothing to do with the fact that I was an influencer. I entered a raffle and I won them. I did have to pay taxes on them though, which is like, I think it was like $300-400. And then the maybe it's like 200. I don't remember what it was. And then the Nike Air Yeezy 1 Zen Yeezys, they I had saved a bunch of Farfetch credit from doing a bunch of videos with them, and then I spent, like, I think I supplemented the extra, like, I think it was like $500. But with that, we pretty much wrap up this week's episode of Weekly Heat. Once again, I would love to know your thoughts on this new format and whether this is something you'd like to see me do again in the future, so make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.